Welcome to another episode of Behind the Business presented by Gore Mutual. I'm your host, Ian McLean, President and CEO of the Greater Kitchener-Waterloo Chamber of Commerce. This podcast is recorded on the traditional territory of the Neutral, Anishinaabe, and Haudenosaunee peoples. Each week I sit down for candid conversations where we go beyond the boardroom and behind the business to uncover the real stories of Waterloo Region's business community. Today's guest is Mark Bingeman, President and CEO of Bingemans, a multi-faceted entertainment, hospitality, and event destination that is well known within our region. Mark has led the family business through bold expansions and innovations, transforming it into a vibrant destination with waterparks, live events, and new experiences like Putt Social. In our conversation, Mark shares his career journey, including his early international hospitality experience and the lessons learned over a family-rooted business. He discusses how he balances the innovation with tradition, the strategies behind new projects, and his vision for the new Bingemans and bold vision for Waterloo Region. Join me in this episode as we go behind the business with Mark Bingeman of Bingemans. Well, we're excited to have you here today, Mark. Thank you so much for joining us in our new podcast studio.
It's very cool in here. I'd never been upstairs here before, so it's a double whammy for me.
Well, we transitioned one office into this, so it's a great way as we start to do podcasts and have the video with it to have this great studio. Listen, Mark, Bingemans has been a staple in Waterloo Region for generations. So let's rewind to the your early career before and follow the family history of the business, because this is multi-generational.
But Gosh, I should have had Lawrence with me.
Yeah, that's right. You studied hospitality internationally and worked with major hotel brands like I think it's Marriott and Hyatt.
Yeah.
Walk us through those early days of your transition into the family business.
Yeah, no, listen, I always knew I wanted to get in the business. I always saw my dad going to work, and obviously as a part-time job, work. So I knew what I wanted to do with my life. So, when I went through high school, went to Michigan State, graduated from there. And when it was time for the graduation, I said to my father, okay, I'm graduating, the spring term, I'm coming home soon. What's my job going to be? And he said, I don't have one. And I said, what? And he said, yeah, there's no job here for you. He said, you better interview and find a job. So I was panic-stricken. I was pissed off, but I was panic-stricken. And I took interviews like crazy, and then ended up with actually Hyatt. I had worked for Marriott previously, but then I worked with Hyatt for 4 years.
So where did you do that? Was that in Toronto, or whereabouts did you do it?
No, I did it. We interviewed at the school, and then it was the Hyatt Regency Atlanta. So corporate had sent me to Atlanta.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And so it's Hyatt and Marriott, and that's where you got your, in terms of hospitality, the food side of business, the customer service,
obviously growing up in the business, you get some of that, but getting that outside experience was for me, it was a total shocker. Seeing things done differently, seeing things done at bigger scales, and different levels of it. So it was just a world of good for me, for my growth and training.
So, and it is a family business. I've lived here for 100 years, or at least since 1971. And so Bingemans has always been part of our family life because of a lot of political events. I remember going to big political rallies at Bingemans back in the day, but it's been part of your family for generations, not only it's been in the community, but it's been part of the family for generations, starting with your grandfather and evolving into now what is clearly a multi-faceted destination that it is today. And you can talk a little bit about that. What are some of the unique challenges of taking on a family business? Because there's a reason why we have the Center for Family Business, and like family-owned businesses have their own unique challenges. What are some of those challenges?
Well, listen, you have the same challenges every other business has, but then you layer that on top of that, you've got family dynamics. Mm-hmm. And, that's where, the need for transparency, the need for being upfront, the need for not only transparency with family members, but also with all of your staff members and key members, because it's a whole lot different. Because family business is typically it's not a 9-to-5 thing.
No,
like after you're done work, you go home and guess what's discussed at the dinner table. It was either what went right or wrong that day, or just in general blue sky and talking about different things. Just like when you go on vacation. So family business is the business button is never turned off.
And you have partners that are non-family. I mean, that's the other part. You got lots of players involved, especially the size and scale of what Bingemans is now. You've got lots of people that you have to manage relationships with.
Well, yeah, at the end of the day, well, sure, we've got bankers, we've got other things, but the biggest component and the most important is our management team. All of our people, that HR component and that management team that helps guide. Like, I might be the person at the top making the end decision, but quite honestly, the group makes the decision.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just lucky enough and to be leading it on their behalf. But it's that group. It's not there's not one voice that calls the shots.
So over the last number of years in your leadership, there's new things that are happening at Bingemans, right? That weren't there years ago, and you keep adding to it. What I mean was that? I mean, is it trends and what customer expectations are that led to that, or is it just diversifying your business? How did you decide what those new experiences that you've built and invested in at Bingemans? Well, you still have the traditions that people have come to expect with Bingemans. How do you strike that balance?
Sure, probably the biggest number of changes started when we knew that the city and region were putting the road through.
Right.
The new road. And we knew that well in advance, if several years in advance. And part of Lawrence had asked, hey, do we have the product that people want? Now that we're going to have better frontage, because our challenges always were, not having good frontage, people not being able to find us, having to drive around that, crappy road and down the hill. And
I remember those days. Yeah.
And although it was quaint and hey, it was great at the time, but we knew things were changing. The region was changing rapidly. And as the region has been changing, even still today, our growth and change is really at the same pace as the region.
Yeah.
So when we said, no, we don't have the products and things that people want or need, that got us kicked into gear of starting some renovation projects. We did the embassy room back then, and then we started doing the ballroom, and then over to Marshall Hall to upgrade, putting in fiber optics. So most places have fiber optics. Well, we have 2 fiber services just to make sure for redundancies and other things. So when those things were there, and then it was also the water park, and we asked the question. We brought in a big park designer just to help guide us through. You can't navel gaze. Sometimes you have to bring in outside help. And sometimes it's those people that ask the questions that you never either thought to ask or you were afraid to ask. Mm-hmm. And they had said, hey, you don't have proper games room, you don't have this is what we had. And we couldn't do it all at once because it would have been just an enormous cost. But we took those thoughts, and as we started growing every year and tweaking, every time we did something, it was for a better goal. Mm-hmm. We had an end game in mind. So that's when Funworks came. We said, hey, we've got millions, tens of millions invested in this water park. Water park season is 90 days in Ontario.
Yeah.
So it's either you make it or you don't. Yeah. And for us, it was, hey, if we were to do it all over again, would we do it? Yeah, maybe we would, maybe we wouldn't. But we're there, so now let's make it the best. But how do we get that amusement component to be year-round? So we don't have to keep, we can keep staff longer in those, and that's how Funworks was born. Right, because we had more washrooms, more concessions, more attractions, a big games room.
So water park, the other water park, and then you also have Funworks and Kingpin, right?
So the Funworks building was the first to be built.
Yeah.
And then we built it to add on.
We
purposely did it. We added an addition. And then the third addition was the Boston Pizza Kingpin Bowl Lounge.
Right.
And that was a much larger. And that building is yet to grow into something else, to add another component, but another 40,000 feet at some point in time. So whenever we do a project, we're always looking at what do we need now, what's coming down the pipe for people that's wanting, but what's next? We always leave room for the next thing. And at the same point in time, we're not afraid of changing things up because, prior to Funworks, we had the lower end of the park. We had bumper boats. We had some inflatables. We had the jump eye attraction, a whole bunch of other activities. And a year after we opened Funworks, we realized no one was using those attractions anymore because they all wanted the new stuff.
Yeah.
So we started phasing those out because not everything is going to, everything has an expiry date.
Yeah.
And you always have to be looking, what's the next best thing coming?
And I see that in my time in the beer business, right? In downtown Toronto when I was working as restaurants they either adapt and change what they were doing because there's lots there and people want the newest and the latest and something fresh. So you do have to always keep that in mind. Listen, I mean, it's a good segue. Um, and our chamber and the rest of the economic development partners are all talking about, well, there's a vision for us to be 1 million people. That decision was made by the province and the region and others years ago, but we're going to be better part of 1 million people in the next 20 years. And so we have needs, which I think everyone, whether it's in business or civic life, we need lots more healthcare services and professionals. We need housing. We need infrastructure across the board that are all critical priorities. But one of the things that we're conscious of is saying we're going to be 1 million people. How are we a successful community of 1 million people that's worth living in? And part of that is the placemaking part. Like places like Bingemans is a major tourist destination, so it brings people in, which is great for the economy. Great experiences for locals. But that when we are 1 million people, we have to have things that keep people animated and excited about being in this community. Talk about that placemaking and livability function of why it's important for a vibrant community like the region of Waterloo.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you know what? That is at the crux of what we do each and every day, and our growth pattern. I think our region was on the path to 1 million, whether the province said you had to be or not. It's just, listen, it's a great place to be. It's central location. We all know, so I'm speaking to the choir on those things.
Yeah.
But placemaking we need places of significance for people to want to live here.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same point, they shouldn't feel that they need to go to Toronto, to go. And again, look at that now. Like it's at now, if you're going to Toronto for an event, budget at least 2 hours of travel time, sometimes 2.5. And if there's an accident, listen, there's many events I've gone to in the city that I've had to cancel because accident on the 401, and just, hey, we're not going to make it. So then turn back. So it's those types of things that we need to be doing more of. And we talk about, we hear a lot of people saying, hey, we wish we had this, we wish we had that. So we're getting there. There's no question, whether it's ourselves and many others that are preparing for that opportunity. As the demographics change, as the population grows, we will be adding more and more products and more, and outsiders viewing our region as a great investment because they're seeing that. They want a piece of that too. So we think about that all the time. We beta test all of our products here. We added Kingpin Cambridge a few years ago. Now we were doing it with the K1 in Cambridge, another product with partners of ours that we're doing that with. We're taking some of those products on the road. We're actually constructing as we speak Kingpin St. Catharines. So for us, this is a real great incubator for a lot of entertainment products that we like to take on the road.
And I think you're hit on something. I mean, it's important. Being connected to Toronto is going to be incredibly important for not only our community, because there's actually more people that come in here to work than go the other way now. So all day two-way go is one of those examples of saying there's a great pool of potential customers saying, hey, look, we can go down and it's cheaper, more easier, less busy to come to some of the things, whether it's Bingemans or other things back here in Waterloo Region. So important to have that connection. Listen, leading it's a multifaceted. We've talked about that, and it's family-owned business. It's not just the operations and running a good business, but it's also culture, and it's about the experiences that you've had and how you've grown as a leader of an organization. So when you look back, and we've all had mentors one way or the other, whether you call them a mentor or not, the people that have helped you along the way. Looking back at those that have helped you along the way, how have they influenced the way that you mentor the next generation, whether it's your own team or others in the community? Because that's one of the things we all sort of pay it forward, and we're always informed by those that have helped us along the way.
Well, I would say I've had mentors all throughout. When with my career at Hyatt, with going through university, like even still now, I'm connected with Michigan State. I go down periodically. I was on their search committee for a new dean, and still some of the old professors, and asking how are things. And they're almost wanting to know so they can keep current what's going on out there. So it's that item of keeping current that really has gone forward. And even as we go forward, our board is obviously made up of family members, but we have strategic advisors that are advising the board. They're gold to us. They're the ones. They're the ones. They're not telling us what to do. They're asking the questions. Does this fit? Does this make sense? How does this? Where is the growth on this? How is this with the other people? And I would say over the years, our change in management styles changed dramatically into this management team. We brought in a performance coach about a year and a half ago, just working with everybody, just all the key department heads in those areas. They know everything what's going on, driving what's going on, because we're looking for exponential growth. In order to get there, you have to have everybody on board.
Yeah.
And through that, and especially coming out of COVID, when we started, we went down, we were as low as 7 staff members.
Yeah.
at the worst point of COVID. And, so we're typically between 500 and 600 employees. So we knew the build back was going to be significant, and what was important, what made us us. And of course, during that time, we had some time to really talk things out, and we used that time. We used that time to help with our plans and really shape our culture. Our culture was already shaped. It was, now how do we polish it? And what makes us? What do our clients think of us? What's important to our clients? What's important to us? Because we're customer centric, whether it's a corporate client like yourselves at the chamber, or whether somebody just come into the water park for the day.
And I think it is COVID. I mean, we're sort of past, because it all affected everyone, and obviously hospitality was first impacted and last to really fully come out of it, and that was just a reality. But I think it also there were some lessons there that we really took away from how to do things, and so it sounds like you used the time to figure those things out, and as you say, polish what was already a very successful business. The Behind the Business podcast is made possible through the support of our title sponsor, Gore Mutual. Proudly Canadian, Gore Mutual has stayed true to one purpose for more than 185 years: insurance that does good. It's the reason they exist. They believe that when we focus on being good, doing good, and spreading good, we all thrive together. We're grateful for their continued commitment to our local communities and the positive impact they make every day. For more information, visit goremutual.ca. Listen, you're a major employer, and we just talked about that. From the depths of COVID to where you are now, and you're growing, and you've got you're
happy to be
it's
back.
no longer I'm not sure that it ever really was just local, but it's not local anymore. You're all over southwestern Ontario. I mean, you're in a lot of different places, whether it's catering and now in St. Catharines and other places. But you're a big employer. And you hire lots of students starting out in their careers that get to give them their first opportunity. Several of my team here at the chamber have worked at the Bingemans for you, and over the years, it's been lots of people say, "Oh, of course I worked at Bingemans." Everyone eventually
sooner or later
they were at Bingemans, and so when you look ahead to the trends in education and training. How do you think those things are going to change for the employees that you'll need in the future? Because the profile must have changed from 20 years ago to what the type of employees that you need now. And so education and training and sort of that new generation of workers is going to look different. How do you think both training and education is going to have to adapt so you get what you need to fulfill the goals that you have as a business?
So I tell you, the one fundamental has never changed. Even with all this current stuff with AI and everything else, that fundamental is we hire great people. You have to be a great person. You have to enjoy people. You have to be able to communicate. Great people is where it all starts. Once we have that, now we can teach them things. There's obviously great courses with Conestoga.
Yeah.
Other, just the scholastic and academic around us is significant, whether it's Laurier, Waterloo, Guelph, and certainly pulling from others. But we still need to teach them how we do it.
Yeah.
And so for us is once we hire great people, it's easy to train and mold great people. You know, at any given time, we either have 100, somewhere between 100 and 400 of our staff are students, whether university students, high school students. Like that's how dramatic. Obviously, in the summertime, ramps up pretty significantly, but at Christmas time, as waiters and things like that. So it's pretty significant. And at any given time, you know, 20 or up to about 20%. I was asking my HR people this the other day. Up to 20% is their first time job.
Yeah.
So for us, we're great training grounds for those people.
So the academic, they got to have some of those skills, but you know, customer service and knowing how to get the customer experience and how your wait staff and service staff are central to that is that's the non-academic training part.
And you know, and in our today's day and age, with everybody with their phones and communicating only by phone, it's hard to get, you know, kids nowadays to get out of their shells.
Yeah.
Like there's going to be someone in front, and when we do customer service training with them, especially in the summer.
Sorry, bud.
I'm glad it wasn't me.
No, that was me. I can't believe I didn't turn that off.
No worries.
I'm gonna get in trouble.
It's the problem of being popular.
Yeah, right.
No, but seriously, it's that, you know, for them to understand. Okay, we're going to have somebody in front of you. You can't look at your phone for assistance or to talk to them. You need to say welcome, and what can we get for you?
Yeah.
And then upselling or other things, or even, you know, obviously we go through customer service training. Hey, if somebody's not enjoying themselves or has an issue, we want it solved by that line person.
Yeah.
You've got carte blanche, solve their problem.
Yeah.
We can deal with it afterwards.
Yeah.
If you think you're giving too much or you're giving it too much, don't worry about that. But just don't let that person, because if it gets further up the food chain, it becomes it just gets worse.
Yeah.
Right. So solve the person's problem.
Yeah.
You know, we had a theme. Actually, it was just the other year. You know, make everybody leave as raving fans. Yeah. If we do that each and every day, that's what's the key to business growth.
That's good for any business, whether you're a hospitality business or not. As a happy customer is the best advertising. Listen, Conestoga or Bingemans has been a cornerstone of Waterloo Region for decades, and we've touched on that. And you've supported lots of programs and, you know, organizations, charities. You know, we've got many events that you're participating in, Oktoberfest and other things over the years. What impact does the positive community events that are here mean to you personally, right? To you and the family and to the business. I mean, there's two parts of this. We want a successful community so others can be successful, but having those big events and for other organizations to be successful is just good for the community, but it's also good for business broadly.
Yeah, I would say for us, that's we all live in the community.
Yeah.
We grew up in the community. We've prospered in this community. You have to give back to the same community. Mm-hmm. And with that cycle, and I personally believe in the Wheel of Fortune, right? Mm-hmm. From Shakespeare, what comes around is going to go around. Yeah. Sometimes you may not think of it that way, depending on what situations you're going through, but you have to have faith in that, and you have to have faith with the community. And for us, whether it's we're very connected with the health of the region, so healthcare, so we're very connected with supporting that, and their different initiatives. But even when it's other community initiatives, obviously we've been with Oktoberfest since the beginning, so still working on that and working with them on different items. But it's far beyond that. You know, there was an esports startup trying to get space going, and they needed some assistance. So we thought, hey, listen, we have the ability. When we have the ability, we love supporting and showing. And at some point in time, I'm sure that'll come back to us too. But we need more of that in our community, and I think as we grow, it's a different community today, and it will be a different community tomorrow. And I think some of that learning of some of the more usual suspects of large family businesses that were supportive, it was expected of them, and as I think people expect that of us as well. But we do it because we want to, and we do it. Listen, we've got over 500 employees. We want them to be healthy. Yeah. So we want them when they go to whichever hospital they go to, we want them to have top-notch healthcare because we need them in their seats.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, we're one community and we're all connected. Listen, we talked about some of the new experiences, and I'm interested. There's a new one in the Tannery, in the Communitech building. Um, so it's called Putt Social. So tell us just a little bit about that. But also, I guess the real question is what's next? Because Putt Social is something new.
Yeah.
How did you come up with that as being the idea and the location? And how would that inform the what's next part? Like you're doing that now, but how will you come up with that? What's the next thing after that?
Yeah,
So talk about Putt Social because I'm interested. I'm a golfer, so I'm interested.
We can't tell you everything that's coming up because
No,
then
I guess
there wouldn't be any surprises. But yeah, this Putt Social, believe it or not, we've been looking for something for 5 years on the upscale mini golf and trying to find it, and ideally trying to find a vendor partner that could create what we wanted created without us doing it ourselves because we're not the tech people, we're not those other items. So it's taken 5 years, and just we're at a trade show, and listen, we scour the world for things. When we travel, we go check things out. Myself, my other managers go around whenever they're saying they're traveling somewhere. So it was, hey, go check out this place that opened. I saw this in the trade magazine. So keeping current is so important. So we're at a trade show, and our head of facilities said, I think I found what we're looking for. I'm like, where is it? It was in the back of this monstrous, Orange County Convention Center in a corner. I wouldn't even have seen this thing. I said, where'd you see these things? I just walked by it. And they said, we talked to these people, saw their product. We said, hey, we like it. Can you make a few? Yeah, they're happy to do it. It was coming out of Brazil, believe it or not. And that's how we got it. So Putt Social is really an upscale mini golf and bar and restaurant. And when I say restaurant, snacking foods. It's really about competitive socializing.
Yeah.
You're going to go there for a few drinks. You're going to go there and have some fun. Actually, when you go there, you check in at the bar.
Yeah.
And then you get ready, and they're saying, great, let's get you a drink to get started, whether it's alcoholic or non-alcoholic. They've got a whole bunch of huge mocktail list, milkshake list, and all those things. But the great thing is the tech, it's all infused with tech. You don't do anything. It keeps score for you and plays games and does all these other things. So for us, this was the beta test for us. Again, for us, we love beta testing in our region. We still had that space, which we hadn't have come back from COVID yet. We said, what can we do cool? Because people still aren't back to the office, unfortunately, fully. So knowing that that's going to be a challenge there, we need something that's a real destination driver.
Yeah.
And that's when we came up with this product.
Well, that's it. It sounds like I haven't been in yet, but I will because
corporate groups, huge for corporate groups.
Well, at the end of the golf season, I'm always looking for something that involves golf during the winter months. So, listen, before we wrap up, and this podcast series is, as I would say, is as much about hearing the story of businesses like Bingemans, but it's also about leadership, right? It's about leaders in our community, and I always ask the same sort of series of questions because it's always interesting to see different people's take on of what their growth has led to their growth. So, if you could go back, what would you tell your younger self if you could go back in time and give yourself some advice?
Go harder. Time is especially now. Time is such a valuable commodity that I did not realize it in my younger years.
Yeah, no, that's good. It's good advice. Who or what inspires you in your life?
I would say the kindness of others. When I see that from our team members that are, really living that ethos of us of delivering great experiences, and that's what we do. We deliver exceptional experiences. And when I see that, that drives me more because one is people get it, they're getting it, but it also drives me to say, okay, I need to do more. And it's that yin and yang and supporting one another is what drives it.
If you weren't in your career, it's hard to imagine a Bingeman not in the Bingemans business. But if you weren't in Bingemans, what would you be doing?
Art history.
Really?
I know. I knew it was art history.
Mind officially blown here. I would not have picked that. Why my art history?
I was in high school. I got a taste of art history through the art department, through the art class. And when I went to university, I had just a couple of electives you had to take. And I picked the art history ones, and I just
So is it you travel a lot? Is it architect? Is it like what are some of the things? Architecture or
art? Listen, there's not a museum I don't miss.
Really?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well, and with as much traveling as you're on, you must have seen some great ones along the way.
I've been very fortunate. There's no question. And you know what? The best one is always the next one.
Yeah, the best one is the next one. That's good. and people still read books, whether it's online or in paper, or listen to a podcast. Now, I know you listen to the Behind the Business podcast, but what are you reading or what are you listening to on podcasts?
So I am a horrible reader. I'll tell you that from a book standpoint, that's not my thing.
Yeah.
But I have an insatiable appetite for industry trade magazines. And typically now that they're all online, it's a whole lot easier.
Yeah.
And I can save them. I've got a file that says read later. And so if I see something and I don't have the time, I always put it in there. And then every Sunday I scan through that. And is there something I need to pick up on and those types of things. But podcasting, there's actually a gentleman out of, he's a friend of mine, Bashir Wally, who's a big hospitality person out of the U.S., does a lot of podcasts, has his own podcast. The future of hospitality is he is dialed in significantly. He's an immense individual. When he never stays in the same hotel once, more than one night, because his goal is he wants to see whether he's searching for what's the next in hospitality. And he obviously runs a hospitality organization.
Yeah.
So it's those types of people that drive me. We may not be doing the same things and exactly in the same lane, but that thought process and that mental process is, we can apply that to our business.
I know your favorite business has got to be Bingemans, but what's your favorite, other than Bingemans, what's one of your favorite local businesses in the region?
Gosh, I would say I got to give a shout out. Matter of Taste, Don and Fong, the best coffee in the world. I wish they had more outlets for me to get my fix, but but I always make some time to see them downtown.
Good Java is always an important start.
Well, and you know what? I love what the guys are doing. Wes and John down at the Odd Duck. Have you been to Odd Duck?
No, I have not.
You got to get down there. These guys are bringing it to the plate. It's my hat's off to them. They're doing a fantastic job, and they need it. And I got to say, my favorite bagel place, I think it's closed now. Woodside or Fireside. I just off of Wilson there. I hope they're going to reopen, but best place for bagels.
There you go. And of course, people may want to get connected, and whether it's a young person listening to this looking for a job and not realizing that Bingemans could be there at the start of their career, where can listeners go to connect with you and the business?
Yeah, you know what? It's the easiest thing is follow us online on Instagram, LinkedIn. You'll see all the latest things coming up. You can always get a hold of us there, or check out our website. Sign up for we've got two different avenues of e-blasts that go out. One's for the amusement consumers, and the other one is for our corporate. A lot of people sign up on both, but that's the best way. And listen, anybody wants to get a hold of me, it's really easy. It's mbingeman@bingemans.com.
There you go.
It's easy to get a hold of me.
That's good. Listen, I know how we talked a little bit earlier about the most valuable commodities is time. You said it in one of your answers. Thank you for spending some of your precious time with us. We appreciate you joining us today.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's great seeing you guys, and a great job that the Chamber's always doing. So keep it up.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Behind the Business, proudly presented by Gore Mutual, insurance that does good. New episodes drop every Thursday, so be sure to tune in next week. You can also visit greaterkwchamber.com to catch up on past episodes anytime. We'll see you next time as we continue to go Behind the Business.